Hello and welcome back to Sharin No Kuni. And yeah, last episode was a doozy. I took a longer break than I actually anticipated. And that said, it was the rest of the day. So I haven't recorded on the same day. So this is a new session and day for me. So yeah, let's go on and see if anyone's gonna die now. Or not. Okay, perfect! Next chapter! I shut my eyes in order to see. Okay, next chapter is I shut my eyes in order to see. Okay. Well, then we can put a save there. Perfect. Okay, so I perfectly passed it up with the next chapter already. That's okay. Okay, so this chapter is the maximum punishment. Wait, does it mean I have the maximum punishment now? Does Morita get the maximum punishment for breaking a law as how's it called? For breaking a law as someone who supposedly has to defend the law? Well, it would make sense. Hoizuki argumented with that how was it called? That taxes pay for his education to become a special high-class individual, so society pays for his education to protect them from those who obey the law and break the law. And yeah, I can totally see him being the one with the maximum penalty. On the other hand, I still think it could be his sister. Otherwise, I don't know how he would get rid of the maximum punishment. Okay. Oh, good music. Why had Hoizuki picked me up? His only explanation was that he saw talent in my face. How can you see talent in someone's face? I had many doubts. Doubts as to whether or not those words were true. Doubts as to his real purpose. And doubts as to what would happen to me. However, I was never given time to think about them.
これよりお前を特別高等人として要請する。
You are to receive training as a special high-class individual from here on out. Me? Why? Why would I become a special high-class individual?
理由はある。だが今は知る必要がない。
There's a reason. There's no reason for you to know of it now, however. I wasn't allowed to speak back. I merely followed Hoizuki. I didn't want to die after all. No matter how pitiful of an excuse for a person you are, you have the right to live. Or, at least, that's how I want to justify my actions 7 years ago. Oh man! Look at his little uniform! This is almost cute! He's crying as usual. The place I had been taken to was probably part of a military installation. The building was surrounded by an imposing concrete wall, and the entry gate was monitored stringently. Inside were lodgings, a track for running, a shooting range, generally the sort of facilities one would require for training. Stern-looking men, wearing uniforms and carrying automatic rifles, stood around every corner. They examined me in various ways. Physical checkups, personality assessments, psychological exams, IQ testing. I was judged to be inferior to the rest of the cadets in every way. My life in the facilities had just begun. We were holding a meeting in a conference room. An instructor who was well versed in the art of making speeches introduced himself, then invited us to swear our loyalty to the nation along with him. A strange atmosphere settled throughout the room. At this time, another instructor came to question me.
どうして人を殺してはいけないのだ
Why is it wrong to kill a person? I timidly began to answer his question, afraid that I would be punished if I did not. Because I feel sorry for them, because it hurts, and I mean, dying is... Blood gushed from my nose in imitation of a cliché. I fell to the ground and pleaded for my life. The instructor who had approached me looked down and spoke.
法律で決まっているからだ人殺しはいけないと国が決めているからだルールに意味を求める者はこの施設では生き残れんぞ
Gushed from my nose in an imitation of a cliché. Okay. Because the law says so. The country has decided that killing others is wrong. If you require some sort of significance behind our laws, you will not last long in this place. And so the worst days of my life began. For the first 6 months, I did nothing but eat, sleep, and exercise. Well, maybe I should do that to get rid of my little belly. We didn't even have time to breathe. Our daily activities were charted meticulously. It's too hard. I can't run anymore. And I have blisters all over my feet. I can't get stronger like this. This is counterproductive. You would be beaten immediately if you complained or attempted to employ logic. You would be kicked until you were on the brink of death if you were 10 seconds late to a meeting. What? Or if you swung your arms in the wrong tempo while marching. That's fucked up. Or if you didn't pay attention to where you were going in the dimly lit hallways. Or if you sighed before going to sleep. What? In fact, it seems that there was always something flying my way. Whether it were a hand, a stick, or a whip. We were forced to comply with orders without thinking. Thoughts of my hometown, of Sachi, of Natsumi, and of sister vanished from my exhausted brain. I always used to slouch, but I adopted a straightened posture before I even knew it. If I had not, the usual punishment would have awaited. After a while, we proceeded to being crammed full of knowledge. We spent countless days doing nothing but listening to an instructor drone on and on. Mathematical equations, the sentence structure of foreign languages, historical events, the workings and laws of society. There was no physical punishment during this time. However, you were forbidden to sleep until you memorized an amount of information that they deemed adequate. I muttered the signs and figures they asked for, only dimly aware of what was going on. Perhaps I would have ended up as nothing more than a drone if that situation had continued any longer. For by the time we entered the second stage of the training, my eyes had already lost their light. Oh my, what? And finally, I was allowed to think for myself. Contribute to society using the strength and knowledge you have cultivated. The instructor took us outside of the facility after telling us this. They blindfolded us and drove us somewhere in a jeep. When they finally took the blindfolds off, the spectacle that greeted us was that of a street filled with violence, poverty, and drugs. It was a downtown district, inhabited by foreigners. Our country used to have a policy of isolating foreigners. It was put into practice around 100 years ago and ended just recently, around 20 years ago. We took so long to abolish it, despite criticism from other nations. Not because we were victorious, not because we were the world leader. It was merely to protect the safety of those discriminated against. For that is why the isolation policy had been enacted to begin with. However, since that policy has since been abolished, public order has been going down the drain recently. What we saw were the results of this. Men with worn out clothes wandered here and there, seemingly having no real destination in mind. The street itself was caked with a dried substance that could have been either paint or blood. Elderly people lay collapsed on the side of the road. Children trampled over them without a second thought. I once heard the sound of a gunshot in one of the buildings. Immediately afterwards, a prostitute fell out of the window and cracked her head on the street below. What is going on there? Wait, but I have to recap. I didn't grasp all of it. Wait. Our country used to have a policy of it was to into practice ended just around 20 years ago. Took so long despite criticism. Because we were victorious, not because we were the world leader. It was merely to protect the safety of those discriminated against. Oh, okay. Actually, there was even an urban legend that stated that you would contract a fatal venereal disease if you came in contact with the deceased prostitute's blood. What? What is a venereal disease? Come on. Oh, I should have loaded it up earlier. Venereal. Okay. I think I wrote it wrong, right? Come on. There. Oh. Oh, okay. Okay, so basically an STD. No, wait. Yeah, it's an STD, basically. Sexual transmitted disease. If one of us walked through the streets, we would be met with piercing gaze all around. I encountered many dangerous situations. For example, I was once punched in the stomach after accidentally brushing into someone while rounding a corner. Or how about that time I was surrounded by a group of men pointing knives at me while I was waiting for the light to change. I managed to avoid being murdered, not because I was a child, but because I was broke. Those who lacked money would starve to death, but those who possessed it would be killed. Many of my fellow cadets attempted to band together and get in on the action for themselves, but they were quickly dealt with by the local gangs. Honestly, pure dumb luck is my only explanation for my survival. Cars almost never passed through the downtown area. Hell, people got pissed when a taxi was taking up too much of the road. However, once a week, at around 9 PM, a black luxury car would cruise through the main street at a low speed. Now, normally people would swarm passing cars, seeking money or charity. However, this car in particular was always completely ignored. I found myself curious as to why. I ended up peeking in through the car window, only to be met with the face of a young foreign man.
俺は今こうやって何も恐れずに車の窓を開けた。お前が強盗なら俺は大バカ者だ。だが危険はないと確信した。なぜだかわかるか？
Okay. I rolled my window down just now without the barest shred of fear. If you had been a mugger, that would have made me a great fool. However, I knew that you posed no threat, Do you understand why? His intellect and dignity made quite the impression on me. I was too awestruck to say anything.
お前が移民ではないからだ。
It's because you are not a foreigner. People in a position of power always hate those of their own kind. The man who had picked me up would teach me that later. He happened to be the president of a cell phone company located on the outskirts of the city. He was using the locals as a source of cheap labor in order to turn a profit. So, a foreigner only spoke to me because I wasn't a foreigner in the country he's in. That's so messed up. A foreigner who's racist against his own race or something like that, if I got it right. I ended up becoming part of that cheap labor myself. I labored in his factory from day until night. I turned out to be quite proficient at this sort of thing. I observed the rules and obeyed my orders. All I had to do was put parts together in the specified order. I forgot all about the high-class individual exam. I happily turned in overtime hours and assisted my fellow employees with their own tests. The man who had picked me up apparently found my slavish devotion to my task rather unusual. That is, the way I labored without expecting a return or desiring a meaning for my actions. He invited me out to a rather grand dinner during an inspection one week. I somehow managed to get the gist of his words, relying upon the knowledge packed into me back at the institution.
お前には学がある。だが、欲がない。
You possess the ability, but you lack the desire. I was to act as the president's personal secretary from that day forth. He would plant that desire in me. I learned how to enjoy alcohol, how to tell lies, how to impress my superiority upon others, how to impress my superiority upon others, how to manage people so that I would not have to do anything myself, and which drugs I should try. Really? This is something the president of a company taught you? Though I never really picked up how to treat women. Of course, from all the things you can do with money and power, woman is the only things you never touched. Never touched that stuff. Oh, woman, no! I ended up associating with him for around a year.
支張りはわかるか？
Are you familiar with Shuhari? I believe he spoke those words to me immediately before the end of the second stage of the exam. We were driving out of the inner city. There is a sequence to receiving guidance from one's leader. In the stage of obeying, Shu, you follow your leader's words exactly. Once you become accustomed to this, you enter the stage of breaking, Ha, wherein begin to think for yourself. Eventually, you reach the state of separating, we. Shuhari. Shuhari. Receiving guidance from one's leader in the stage of obeying. Words exactly. We come to this, enter the stage of breaking. Begin to think for yourself. Eventually, you reach the stage of separating, we. In fact, the president had a habit of saying, think for yourself, quite frequently around this time. In other words, I had reached the stage of breaking under him.
お前もいずれ俺のところから離れていくのだろうが、世の中には決して破れない形式がある。それは社会の壁であり、ルールであり、人のうねりだ。
You too shall part from me one day. However, there are things in this world that can never be broken. Namely, the wall known as society and the rule known as popular opinion. I don't really understand. I think I'm quite free already.
いいや、お前はまだまだ社会の術中にある。
I No, you are still playing into society's hand. Our drive continued. Our destination was a familiar-looking military installation. He had been just another instructor. Holy shit. Okay. By the end of the second stage, the amount of cadets had been reduced drastically. The man who had instructed me during the second stage must have been rather excellent. I found all of the subsequent stages rather simple. We were allowed a greater degree of personal liberty, and the training began to operate using a credit system. One part of the training involved obtaining an established position within society. I entered a university and founded my company around that time. It was also around that time that I learned of a woman named Eri Nagumo, who had obtained a PhD in the field of law science. However, I would prove unable to pass the willpower portion of the seventh stage of the training. The instructor in charge was none other than Old Man Hoizuki. He questioned me for a great length of time within a stifling locked room.
お前の最も後悔している体験を私の目を見てはっきりと語れ。
Look directly into my eyes and state your most regrettable experience. It was, of course, abandoning my friends and saving only myself. I had not had time to reflect upon it due to what had followed, but it was not something that I could have forgotten. I nearly vomited many times throughout the ordeal. Fountains of sweat poured from my palms, and every time I would finish saying it, Hoizuki would respond with,
もう一度
"Again!" And I would repeat it, only to be met with that response again and again. I grew more and more unsettled. Eventually, I was unable to even look him in the eyes. I abandoned my friends and went away by myself.
目がそれたな。もう一度
Your eyes straight. Again. I abandoned
目がそれた。もう一度
your eyes straight. Again. I...
もう一度
Again. Again, your eyes straight. Again, your eyes straight. Natsumi, Sachi, Isono, Nichan. My jaw trembled when I thought about the people I had left behind. My entire body tightened with pain. Why was I the only person continuing to live on as if nothing had happened? I was doing exactly as the people who had killed my father, captured my sister, and ravaged my town were telling me to. Someone bearing an unforgivable crime was trying to become a special high-class individual. I shouted at the society which would allow such an injustice. I shouted at myself. I'm only living because I can't die!
では死んでこい。
Then you shall meet with death. And thus I was forced to participate in the Southern Campaign. I indeed encountered many opportunities to die upon the battlefield. Peeking my head out from the trench, not putting on my gas mask in time, not killing an ally when he started to panic, not worrying about the gunfire of an allied fighter plane. However, whenever I felt that I couldn't go on any longer, I recalled the faces of my friends. I indulged in delusions of their smiles. They had forgiven me. I wanted to see them one more time. I didn't know what I would do when I saw them, but I couldn't just die and leave things like this. My wish would become reality after my face had changed so much that barely a remnant of Higuchi Ken remained. Everything of that is really grim. I spent my days shut up in my room after returning home from the war. I awaited the final exam in a stupor. I couldn't help but wonder if it was really okay that I would become a dog of the country, a high-class individual. I had money and power. I no longer stammered when I spoke with people. I could recover immediately from depression. How can you recover immediately from depression? That's something I would like to know how to do. I was no longer Higuchi Ken, a coward who had to rely upon his sister Natsume. It's about time I got out of here. Hoizuki Masaomi entered the room, immediately after I made my decision.
薬をやっているのか
Were you taking your drugs? That's none of your business, is it? I sulkily exhaled a blast of smoke. Hoizuki showed no interest in my pipe and began talking.
お前がどうして特別高等人を目指すのかその理由を教えてやろうと思ったのだ
I have decided that it is just about time to inform you of the reason why you are walking the path of the special high-class individual. Yeah, about that.
やめるというのだろうだが7年前に私が言ったようにお前は高等人を目指すべきなのだ
You are thinking of quitting, are you not? However, you must aim to become a special high-class individual, just as I told you 7 years ago. I blew out some more smoke, then glared at him.
極刑を受けた人間を見たことがあるか
Have you ever encountered a person with the maximum penalty? My mouth dropped. A woman appeared, bearing the mark of the most severe punishment our society had to offer. I recognized her. It was his sister.
目
Yup!
線は私に向けるのだぞ
This is not a badge! They stamped it on tätowated? I know the German word tätowiert, but tattoo, that's it. They tattoo the maximum punishment on your skin? That's messed up. That's really messed up. And it's on her trousers too, as you can see here in the corner. Ensure that your line of sight falls upon me. I was so curious about the Nichan that I could barely follow his orders.
知っての通り極刑
As you know, the maximum penalty. No, I don't know, but I would love to know. The proof of a crime. The motive, don't you mean motive, of a son was tattooed upon her shoulder and embroidered into her jeans. It was the obligation taught before all others. The obligation which made people turn their heads away in panic.
通称世界から存在を認められない義務だ
Where what? As you know, the maximum penalty is also known as the obligation to go unrecognized by the world. One-chan stared at my chest, her mouth shut firmly.
誰とも目を合わせられず人前で言葉を発することも人に触れることも許されない目線を合わせた者話しかけた者触れた者も同罪で強制収容所に送られる
Those burdened with it are not allowed to make eye contact with others. They are also not allowed to speak with or make physical contact with others. Anyone who locks eyes with, speaks to, or touches her will be sent to a concentration camp. How are you supposed to rehabilitate someone you can't even speak to? No way. Oh, nee. I came dangerously close to talking to her, but I held it in.
生きているのが不思議だろう。圧倒的な孤独の前に誰しも1年もあれば発狂するというのに、さすがは樋口三郎の娘といったところか。
Isn't it quite mysterious that she yet clings to life? Anyone else would have gone mad from the solitude within but a year. I suppose that we should have expected nothing less from Higuchi Saburu's daughter. One-chan was watching me. She was watching Higuchi-ken with a composed expression upon her face. Are you her current supervisor?
察しがいいな。その通り。お前が高等人になった暁には樋口リリ子の監督を任せてもらえるよう取り計らってやろうではないか。
Excellent judgment. Indeed, you are correct. In the event that you become a high-class individual, I would not mind making arrangements to leave Higuchi Ririko's supervision in your hands. Only a high-class individual can provide care for me. Someone who has received the maximum penalty.
そうだ。必要とあれば会話することも手を触れることも許される。
Indeed. If it is so necessary, you may even talk to them and touch them. Technically though, those measures were only meant to prevent them from committing crimes by abusing the fact that others did not acknowledge them. I see. That's quite the news. But to rehabilitate them, you have to speak to them regardless. I mean, how else will you judge if you can lift the obligation or not? And what can they even do to get rid of the obligation? How can they contribute to society when they are not allowed to act with it? My hand trembled. By the way, maximum penalty obligations are almost never cancelled, correct? Hoizuki nodded.
極刑は教育刑ではない。命は奪わないが、罪人に死よりも辛い孤独を味合わせるのが目的だ。それはこの国に死刑制度がない理由につながるのだが。
The maximum penalty is not meant as educational punishment. Certainly, the life is spared, but the purpose behind it is to make the criminal experience solitude that is worse than death. This is part of the reason why our country does not employ capital punishment. However, does not employ capital punishment? What is capital punishment again? Wait. Capital punishment. There we go. Oh, okay. Capital punishment is a death sentence. Okay. You can spare me the tedious explanation of how it was established and whatever. Oni-chan was right in front of me, and I was the only person capable of lessening her solitude. That alone was enough to inspire me. One-chan was still alive. I couldn't speak to her or make eye contact with her, but she was right there with me. I nearly had to choke back tears. For a moment, One-chan blew through her nose as if she were laughing. There was no mistaking it. One-chan had recognized me as her little brother, Ken. I didn't need words to understand that. Just looking at her smile was enough. I can't see much of a smile. I guess I'll give it a shot then. Yeah, I just gotta do it, don't I? I'll become a special high-class individual and look after people who have received the maximum penalty. Right. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I've been talking to myself like this ever since I came back from the war. Oh, well, maybe it's just because I've been taking this drug. As you very well know, my mind is quite weak. I put the pipe back into my mouth.
では最終試験の説明を始める。
Then allow me to explain the details of the final test. I would overcome Hoizuki Masaomi without fail. I spat out one last cloud, then put out my pipe. This is so ridiculous! I mean, only for being the child of a man that committed a major crime? Well, a major crime in quotations, of course. Who fought for freedom and justice more so. Only because of that, the child gets the same punishment as the father. Or as her parents. That's just a messed up system, and I think I said it the first time I heard about it in this game. So, god damn it, this is just not fair. And Kenichi only avoided this penalty because Hoizuki saw talent in his face? Or is he just a sadist and wants to see him suffer like a lord and gets a kick out of it? I think that's the only reason. I thought I had to become a high-class individual and rescue One-chan. If I were unable to accomplish this goal, I would just have to repeat my father's actions. I began walking toward my beloved hometown. I tightened my face and looked into a mirror. In the recesses of my eyes, a weak light shone faintly. That light was the last remnant of Higuchi Ken. It spoke of the weakness in Morita Kenichi's heart. Natsumi was not in her room. I sat alone, absent-mindedly staring out of the window. Police vehicles were rushing along the roads. Every now and then I would hear a shrill whistle. A group of uninformed men would appear out of nowhere in response. Of uniformed men, not uninformed. The town seemed to be in a strange uproar of sorts. Natsumi's whereabouts were uncertain as well. I had been placed under house arrest in this room. The door was locked from the outside and the windows were sealed. They had stationed a lookout in the hallway to keep an eye on me. I had scoped him out earlier when he was delivering my meal. All he had on him was one rather inaccurate gun. Furthermore, he had no backup. My army knife gleamed within my Duralumine case. Why hadn't it been seized? Because this was all part of Hoizuki's game, of course. The game conducted under the pretense of an examination. Letting someone who had committed a crime live was the biggest proof of that. If that's the way you want it, fine. I'll play your little game, pups. I removed the stopper on the gas valve and turned on the stove, then headed to the door. Excuse me, but could you open the door for a second?
どうした
What is it? I think I smell gas in here. I think the stopper on the valve is broken. There was a short pause.
確認する。両手を頭の後ろで組み、ドアから離れて待て。
I'll check it out. Put both hands behind your back and stand away from the door. Alright. I did as I was told. A short man opened the door and entered the room, careful to keep his eye on me. His gun was pointed straight at me. He was close enough that I could reach him if I took only a step forward. And yet he was holding out his gun, arm regardless. Don't shoot now, it'll explode. Is he a rookie? His eyes were narrow. He turned his eyes to the stove, then entered the kitchen. And that provided ample opportunity. I delivered a front kick to his defenseless width. I aimed another kick at his gut after I made sure that he had dropped his gun. I picked up the gun and trained it on him. You don't seem to be with the military. The police, then? Well, that aside, I'm quite interested to know where you picked up such a villainous scowl. He offered no response. Not talking, eh? Whatever. I'm gonna need you to take a little nap. He goes all super solid snake. ... I swept my bangs back and stashed the man's gun in my case. I began preparing to flee the room. I checked the man's ID as he lay passed out on the floor. The public security police. I had heard that things had calmed down quite a bit since the uprising, but it looked like they were still moving behind the scenes. It's so weird though, what happened after Natsumi stated that she would love me and that she said that I'm innocent and I shouldn't get punished, and after the shit got down, and fucking damn it, I still have not a different word for that. But I think it will be explained sooner or later if I just go on, I guess. They weren't equipped with rifles, as in the military. And they didn't receive combat training either. However, they were an elite secret police force who specialized with those who spoke out against the current regime. I've heard that if you get caught by them, even your asshole is gonna be dancing along to their tune by the time they are done with you. Anyway, the most troublesome part of all this was the fact that they were under Pup's personal command. I was just about certain that Pups was the director of the organization. An organization which, by all accounts, shouldn't have been allowed under our current laws. Wait, what? Ah, my chin cracked. Well, apparently he had resigned at some point. But judging by what was happening outside, it was pretty clear as to what his current involvement with them was. Special high-class individuals and the public security police would be likened to two interlocking gears which powered the people's fears. From a commoner's perspective, they were just about the worst combination on earth. Sachi, Tooka, Natsumi, Oni-chan. I wonder if they are all okay. I needed to get a feel for the town. There was no doubt in my mind that something ugly was being planned here. I grabbed my duralumin case and went out into the hallway. There was no lookout? Were they underestimating me? Or perhaps... I clipped my knife to my hip and advanced along the hallway to the exit of the dorm. I hid myself in the shadows of the building and cast a glance toward the gate. Two uniformed men were standing at attention. They both had wireless radios clipped to their waist. They would call in and out occasionally. Well then, what should I do? Oh, it's choice time! Oh, that's a... Okay, so... breakthrough with brute force could be a very bad idea. Because maybe one could go get away. So the smarter move would be to search for a different exit. I examined my surroundings. There was a steel fence at the end of the road near the thicket. It looked pretty easy to climb. I went through the process in my head, then assumed a low stance and put my plan into action. It took a bit of care to get over the fence with my case in hand, but I managed it in the end. There was no sign of the police in the area. I decided to head to the center of town. Solid Snake, baby! A freakish atmosphere permeated the shopping district. Policemen were stationed everywhere, at the entrances of shops, by the side of the road, and at crosswalks. Their presence was clearly an imposing one for the passers-by. They probably knew my face, so I couldn't take any actions that would stand out. I stood behind the supermarket, thinking about what to do next. Just then, I felt a figure behind me. Don't scare me like that!
森田君、髪型が違うからわからなかったわ。
Morita-kun? I didn't even know it was you. Your hairstyle is different. Yeah, I think it really gives a different impression when I show some more forehead. I whispered to Kyoko-san. She seemed a bit nervous.
一体何がどうなってるの？
Just, what's going on here? I don't know either.
今朝から学園が急に休校になって。
The school was suddenly closed this morning. This place was swarming with police before I had a chance to react. Nice work, Paps. Casing the place in no time flat.
警官に事情を聞いても答える必要はないの一点張りで。
I asked an officer for details, but he just said that he had no need to answer me. Are they gathering at the school?
そうみたいね。閉鎖されているくらいだし。
Looks like that. They've closed it off at least. Looked like heading there might be a good idea. No, it's a bad idea. Is Tooka safe?
家にいるわよ。部屋から出ないように言ってあるわ。
She's in the house. I told her not to leave her room. So, what brings you here, Kyoko-san?
街の様子を確かめにね。それから森田君を訪ねようと思っていたの。
I wanted to see what it was like outside. Also, I was thinking of paying you a visit. They put me under house arrest just a little while ago, actually.
じゃあ
What? Then... That's right, I'm a bit of a wanted man. I monitored our surroundings while speaking to Kyoko-san. Be careful. These are the public security police we are dealing with. They know what the hell they are doing. They don't give in easily, and they pick up on gossip. If they catch you, you're probably gonna be unjustly detained over some fabricated crime. Make sure you stay off of their radar.
森田君、どこへ？
Where are you going? To the school. You should head home. Wandering around aimlessly will look suspicious. I left her with that and headed to the school. My Duralumine case really stood out. It'd be for the best if I could store it somewhere. In fact, securing a base of some sort in general would be great. Go to Isono's place! I didn't find a place to hide, so I walked by the school, pretending to be just another passerby as I inspected it. A great deal of men were gathered on the other side of the gate. Having this man deployed meant that they were anticipating a riot of some sort. That said, I didn't see a riot That said, I didn't see any wired police among them, which in turn meant that this was something that they couldn't have getting too public. Something that Hoizuki wanted to take care of with his private troops. Something dirty. I passed by the gates, careful to keep my head down. I got to thinking. Even if I were to catch some underling, they probably wouldn't be able to give me any information. I wanted to speak with Pops, but a frontal assault seemed impossible. If I loitered here for too long, they would find me suspicious. Right then... Was I a fucking moron? Why didn't I turn off the power? My cell phone was ringing inside my case. A policeman walking nearby fixed his gaze upon me. I turned to leave, pretending that nothing was up. But he saw through me.
おい待て。
Hey, wait up! He called for me to stop.
ここで何をしている？
What are you doing here? It was all over if these guys caught me. I came to a halt and ceased all motions.
そのジェラルミンケース、調べさせてもらおう。
You're going to let me examine that case of yours. His voice relaxed a bit. He was confident that he had trapped his prey. So I broke out into a run.
待て！
Wait! My cell phone finally stopped ringing. I could hear the man calling for backup behind me. I tore down the road. There were an innumerable amount of footsteps chasing
止
me.
まらんと撃つぞ！
Stop or we'll shoot! Talk about your loose cannons. Whoa! What the fuck? You couldn't accurately hit a target at this range. The hell were they gonna do if they hit some random passerby? I needed to avoid areas with people. I'm probably safe here. Yeah, in the open, with a field, in a field with no cover whatsoever. The field glittered in the sun. It was just about harvest time. Pops would call me in a situation like this, wouldn't he? Regardless of whether or not it had been a coincidence, I was starting to get the feeling that this was all part of Pop's plan.
いたぞ！森田健一だ！
There he is! Morita Kenichi! Or it's Morita Kenichi. Bloody persistent! Yeah, that's a good place to hide. These guys just don't give up. We had been playing tag for nearly 5 hours now. They had managed to find me no matter where I hid. Whether it was behind a walk near the riverbed or around the back of a private residence. Maybe I had underestimated these guys. Hoizuki Masaomi had trained them, after all. I suddenly remembered something unpleasant. It was about 3 years ago. Hoizuki had been acting as an advisor for the public security police, and I had been allowed to sit in on one of their sessions.
獲物は決して逃がすな。何があっても食らいつき。
Do not let the prey escape your grasp. No matter, you cannot let them pry their way from your claws.
しかしどこをどう探しても見当たらない場合も
But sometimes there are cases where you just can't find the suspect.
地球は丸いのだ。
The Earth is round. Great. Huh. Hadn't just been joking, had he? Maybe they really would chase me to the end of the Earth. In any case, they would be able to find me anywhere within this town. Did Morita never thought about that he is maybe tab-wired in his duralumin case or on any part of his body? My frustration blossomed into a cold sweat. Damn it, what should I do? The mountains were already completely dark. It was almost eerily quiet. If I used the dark to my advantage, I could probably take down 5 people. Unfortunately, taking down 5 people wouldn't really help me much. Maybe escaping into the caves was my best option. So they had already come this far. The glow of flashlights danced through the trees, not too far from where I was hiding. It was only a matter of time before they found me. I started moving slowly through the greenery. Isono! Oh, I was never happier to see you!
森田君、こっちだ。
Morita-kun, over here! Isono held his breath and pointed in a direction with his jaw.
僕の家に案内しよ
I see! The perfect hideout! Isono, the queen! No, not the queen, but... I'll guide you to my home. I had a lot of questions I wanted to ask, but I just followed him silently for the time being. We climbed the mountain without even a flashlight. Isono must have been very accustomed to the road. He didn't waste any time in heading to our destination.
う。よし。もうすぐで懐かしい我が家だぞ。
Alright, we'll be back at your dear old home in just a bit. My home? I thought they had burnt my house to the ground. Isono spoke to assuage my doubts. Assuage? What's that again? Assuage, there we go. Oh, there we go. To soothe, to reassure, to settle, to appease, to moderate. Those were all easier words for me.
僕が立て直したんだ。
I rebuilt it. What? I looked in the direction he was pointing. Sure enough, there was a small house tucked away between the rocks. That...
住居の申請はもちろん出してないし、隠れ家にはうってつけだよ。
Of course, I haven't put forth a formal residential application yet, so it should prove quite suitable for refugee. You're living there?
君の帰りを待っていたんだよ。帰ってきて家がないってのも寂しいだろ？
I've been waiting for your return. Wouldn't it be lonely if you came back without a house? Isono laughed and smiled the same way he had 7 years ago.
家に入る前に、夏美ちゃんと何があったのか話してくれるんだろうね。
I trust that you'll tell me what's going on with Natsumi-chan before we enter, though. Alright. I told him about how I had embraced Natsumi and about how Hoizuki had arrested her. It really was my house. The slightly dirty mat, the faded color of the sliding doors, the dim fluorescent lamp, everything was exactly as it had been 7 years ago.
電力は発電機を使ってる。お風呂もあるよ。
It uses a generator for electricity. It's even got a bath. So you constructed this room yourself?
サチさんにそれとなく手伝ってもらったこともあるけどね。
Well, Sachi-san did help me out here and there. Impressive.
おかえり、ケン。
Welcome back, Ken. ... I gave up. When you figure it out. When you figure it out.
出会った時からかな。
The moment I first saw you. Don't lie.
いくら顔つきや性格が変わったって、僕の目はごまかせないよ。
You can't fool my eyes, no matter how much you change your face or your personality.
君は鎌をかけられるとちょっと考え込む癖があるみたいだな。人を騙してばかりいる人間に限って自分が鎌をかけられると弱いんだよね。
You know, you have this habit of falling deeply into thought whenever someone tries to figure you out or lead you into revealing something. I guess even people who make their livings by fooling others are weak to that sort of thing. He seemed to be telling the truth. In other words, I simply couldn't escape the keen observation of an author. A number of thick books were lying in a heap in a corner of the room. A great deal of papers adorned their sides. These don't seem to be fairy tales.
国体論さ。だから、僕はいつまで経っても世間に認められないんだよね。
It's political theory. I suppose that's why the world just doesn't seem to want to acknowledge me. I picked up one of the papers at random and started skimming through it. A utopia? Come on. This is closer to fairy tales than I thought.
仮想民主主義と呼んでくれ。時代を革新する理想の政治体制だよ。
I would prefer it if you refer to it as a virtual democracy. It's the ideal political system to effect reform in our current day and age. Spare me your ideology. I'm not interested in stuff like that.
残念だな。君を同志に任命しようと思っていたのに。
It's a shame. I was thinking of appointing you as my comrade. Doesn't matter what sort of political system you establish. If people don't change along with the system, then your society is hosed from the get-go.
一般論で説教垂れるやつは嫌いだよ。
I hate people who make speeches based upon generalizations. Cuckoo, he laughed.
逃げ出さなかったんだな。
So you didn't run away?
町が治安警察に占領されて怖くなかったか？
You weren't scared by the public security police? I'm sorry?
謝られても仕方がないんだが。
Apologizing isn't going to accomplish anything. I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. I recalled the events of 7 years ago once more.
まさかケンが特別公当人を目指してこの町に帰ってくるとはね。
I never would have imagined that Ken would come back to this town, aiming to become a special high-class individual in the process. I find it pretty surprising myself.
そのまま特別公当人になっていたら、僕は間違いなく君を指していただろうね。主に大動脈を。
If you had continued down that road to its end, I would have stabbed you, mainly in the aorta. Don't worry, I dropped out. No, perhaps Hoizuki considered the exam to be alive and well. Isuno glared at me.
勘違いするなよ。僕は君をまだ許してはいないんだ。
Don't misunderstand me. I haven't forgiven you yet.
夏美ちゃんは許したのだろ？幸さんもきっと許す。だからこそ、僕だけは君を許さないんだ。この理屈がわかるかな？
Natsumi-chan forgave you, yes? And I'm sure Sachi-san will as well. That's exactly why I can't forgive you. Do you understand? Do you understand me? I have an idea, yeah?
さすが親友。
That's why you are my best friend. Oh, that's so weird. What? You know, I'm only aiming to become special high-class individual, to be united with my sister, the only family he has left. I would degenerate somehow if everyone were to forgive me. Wait, what? I would degenerate somehow if everyone were to forgive me. What does he mean by that? I don't understand that sentence.
さて、協力してくれるんだろうな。
Anyway, I trust you're willing to cooperate with me. Isuno turned on the PC that was sitting on the desk.
サブローさんの残したメモリースティックをよこせ。
Hand over the memory stick Saburo-san left. He was asking for my father's inheritance, the treasure I had found in the cave with Sachi. Fine by me. But you're not gonna be able to get anything out of this without the password.
パスワード？
Yeah, Dad only taught it to my sister. Isuno frowned. It felt like One-chan was sighing behind me. I didn't want to get her involved.
どんなデータだと思う？
What kind of data do you think it is? I don't know. If I had to take a guess, I'd say it's some top secret classified information that would help you overthrow the government.
現状では役に立たないと？
So, something not really useful for the situation right now. Yeah, rescuing Natsumi takes priority over whatever's on that stick.
夏美ちゃんはまだこの町にいるのかな？
Do you think Natsumi-chan is still in this town? Yeah, this is just a gut feeling, but I think Koizuki's keeping her under his custody. He went to the trouble of building that prison under the school, after all. Isuno nodded in agreement. Pops probably gathered all these security guys here because he's planning something nasty.
情報が足りないな。
We could really use some more information. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. Isn't that how it goes?
僕のことを話せと言っているのかな？
What are you saying that you wanna hear about me? If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. That's actually pretty philosophical. And also logical and could be true. Yeah, for example, why you are still alive? I found my voice trembling. I thought for sure that they would have caught you.
捕まったよ。連座制でひどい義務を負わされるところだった。
They did. I was just about to be saddled with a real whopper of an obligation, thanks to that pesky involvement clause.
でも、僕はほら、狂ってるだろ。
But, well, I'm insane, right? Wait, so you weren't lying about failing that psychiatric exam?
君も知っているだろうが、嘘発見器をごまかすのにはコツがあるんだよ。あと、ちょっとだけお尻を売る勇気が必要だったけどね。
I'm sure you already know this, but one can acquire a certain knack for foiling lie detectors. It requires a bit of courage to sell your ass, though. So, was it a joke or not?
僕がハードゲイだってのは内緒だよ。
Keep the fact that I'm a hard gay a secret, alright? What? I thought you were in love with Kyoko-san.
京子さんか。無事かな。
What? Why is he random as ever? Why can't he never give a straight answer to anything? Kyoko-san, I hope she's okay. Isuno's eyes clouded over for a moment. I guess he really was in love with her.
7年前、僕は全てを失った。親も死んだし、幸さんは夢を諦め、夏美ちゃんは瞳から光を失った。けれど、僕は諦めなかった。
7 years ago, I lost everything. My parents had died, Sachi-san had given up on her dreams, and the light had disappeared from Natsumi-chan's eyes. But I didn't give up. So, you are seriously thinking of causing your own little uprising?
今はまだ実行に移せないけどね。理論も弱いし、仲間もいない。全てはこれからさ。
About that, I still haven't put my plans into action yet. My theories are pretty weak, and I don't have anyone to aid me in my cause. It all starts now. It starts now, huh?
幸さんは絵を描き始め、委員長とも絆が深まった。何より、君が帰ってきてくれた。
Sachi-san has picked up painting again. Our bonds with the chairman have deepened. And most of all, you've come back. You've helped me out a few times, haven't you? That time at the cave with the equipment? At the time you lent me the bike? Nice timing on your part, huh?
君を監視していたからね。
Oh, that was just because I was observing you. Well, he had always been a rather sharp guy.
前髪を伸ばしたのはさ、ちょっと傷があるからなんだよ。
I grew out my bangs because I have a bit of a wound on my forehead. I see. Guess you've got your reasons.
口調も変わったろ？昔は俺って言ってたよね。
Wait, what? I changed my tone a bit too, right? I mean, I always used to use ore. Whatever that means. There was a reason for that too?
一人称を変えるとね、自分が別人になったような気がするんだ。7年前のなすすべもなく捕まった自分との決別ってやつかな。
Changing your pronoun is almost like becoming a different person entirely. It was sort of a way to separate myself from that useless kid who hadn't been able to do anything but get his ass caught. I see. Wait a second, you mean to say that absurd Uzuki Sepia pen name of yours has a meaning behind it too?
いや、これはただの趣味。
No, that's just a hobby. You...
森田くんは面白いな。
You sure are amusing, Morita-kun. I clicked my tongue lightly, then spoke. Alright. I pretty much get it. Enough about the past.
そう。問題はこれからどうするかだ。
Right. Our problem is what to do from here on out.
見させてもらおうか。樋口健がどれだけ強くなったのかを。
Show me how much stronger Higuchi Ken has become. Okay, I'm going to leave this episode with the annoying wink tone in the end. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave a like and subscribe to become a knight today, and I will hopefully see you in the next episode. Stay tuned.